pretty easy today, right? 4 hour inverse. We're anticipating these highs. Last couple things that need to happen for that are just the 15-minute inversing, hourly inversing, and we're good to go. Should be good to go. And we'll go over, obviously, the trades from AM today. Had a couple things. 3 minutes still holding here, right? So as long as this 3 minutes holding, I don't think it makes sense for us to go down to the 4 hour. So when that happened this morning, I mentioned that, like, all right, 3 minute held, so don't be married to that 4 hour gap. So as long as you kept with that same mentality, like, okay, we're bullish until, that breaks, then, longs today made money. This one was good, right? I think it might have been a loss. But if there's an SMT there, that was fine, I guess. Let's see. I mean, oh, it's at 12:17. Never mind. Yeah, it's just way outside that time. But yeah, we have NFP on Friday, so as we get closer to that NFP date, we should expect worse and worse price action until that news comes out. We do have Trump apparently speaking at 2 o'clock, or sorry, not Trump speaking. Trump's budget director speaks. And then Trump signs something at 3, and then, I don't know, that's about it. Would you be looking for shorts once we see that daily high, which is also a weekly high? I mean, yeah, we can monitor to see if we start to get bearish delivery from there, but if we continue to be bullish and have bullish delivery, then I'll probably still look for longs. Probably see all-time highs get hit. Reason why is because, on Friday, if we get a good NFP candle and we just pump up, what's going to happen? If we're looking at the weekly time frame here, what is most likely going to happen? Yeah, probably all-time highs, right? We're going to inverse this weekly gap here, so I feel like that being our last, requirement to see all-time highs hit. If we get a good NFP candle and we close the week bullish, we'll see all-time highs hit. I'm already kind of leaning towards that just based on how much we've displaced up and, what the daily's doing, but yeah, I mean, all-time high seemed pretty imminent. Pretty crazy considering, when we were starting to look at long positions we were all the way back down at like 17.3, I think, was when we started calling for longs. I think it was like off of a 4 hour inverse or something. But yeah, that was awesome. And since we've taken those long positions, maybe it was here. It was like here, I think, on this pullback. But yeah, I mean, my long-term positions are up. I don't know. Let me check QQQ. My average is like 433. So, yeah, 529. So I'm up about $100 per QQQ contract there, or not QQQ contract, QQQ share. But yeah, dream scenario is just look for longs. Basically, if we get a good retrace, get a nice long setup from either this low here or just like the extremity of the range. That's what I'd want to see. Probably won't be longing this high up because we don't have those draws and liquidity we're looking for. And yeah, that's about it. Draws and liquidity I would need in order to long this high up would either be like good equal highs or a data wick, and clearly we're not going to get that. So need to see a good 50% retrace or a sweep of the sell side liquidity before taking a long. How many accounts did I blow before becoming profitable? I don't know. Probably a couple dozen. I think by my 18th account or something, I got a payout. So but yeah, right now we're just kind of chopping. We're not really making 1 minute for value gaps. So I'll go over the two trades from this morning that I liked. And then we'll go over some other stuff that happened. So actually, we'll just start at the beginning of the day on like that first potential trade. So Dodgy saw this 5 minute candle close at 9:30 and was like, all right, we've closed up enough in the gap here. We didn't quite inverse it, but seems likely that we'll hit the high, so I'll just jump in options. And so he took an options long there, and then that got stopped break even. And I didn't take that, obviously, because the 5 minute hadn't closed above. And then he mentioned this play has like a long that he might take on his apexes, which this is never something I'm going to take. And the reason why is because unless we have equal highs or a data wick above, there's just not any draws in liquidity here that are going to convince me to long after buy side's been hit after, um, we get like a decently bearish reaction to taking the highs. So for me there, I would just fade that, and then I would watch the short play out. And then at the same time as that 1 minute long, we got this 2 minute short, which I wouldn't take this 2 minute short because we had the 5 minute gap right below that. So this is a little bit different than that scenario from the other day where we had that 30-second. It's pretty similar though, right? Because there shouldn't be any roadblocks in the way before we get to this 5 minutes. So theoretically, you could take the 2 minute short here, go break even at the 5, and just hope you don't get break even. The only problem is that we're so close to that break even point that it's unlikely that this trade will end in anything else but a break even. And you can see here at this 9:52 candle, it did end up becoming a break even trade on that short. And then we get the news. So that was another reason why, maybe longs or shorts there aren't that great, because we have news at 10 o'clock. So news candle prints, we put in a data low. Price runs to that low. We sweep out this liquidity, but we hold the 3 minute bullish gap here, which I had marked out at the start of the day. And I said, because we've respected it so many times, this is what a gap having history looks like. We have so many times where price has retraced this gap and held it. So this gap has a lot of significance. And I said, as long as we're holding this 3 minute gap, we shouldn't be married to the 4 hour low here, because the only time we expect price to go to the next low or next high is if we start violating bearish or bullish PD arrays in that swing. And so as long as we're holding this last gap in the leg, that last bullish PD array, there's no reason for us to expect the low to be hit. So that's why here, when we get the long setup, this V-shaped setup after sweeping the low, this is a good long, whether you take the 30-second or the 1 minute. Obviously, the 1 minute was invalid there, and the 30-second, you were trading into some 1 minute gaps. So technically here, if you take this 30-second, you're actually trading, I think, against the bias. However, as we've mentioned before, you're always trying to monitor that potential shift in bias after that liquidity sweep. So this is definitely a subjective trade, definitely up to the trader on whether or not you take this 30-second. Me personally, I didn't. I just wanted to see more confirmation there when we see a big dump like that. And so I would have gotten in on the second inverse here, this 1 minute gap, right? And then I would have just tried to target that next high up, or that 5 minute gap, whatever it was that we formed, that right here, this. And then obviously, if we, depending on the close here, probably would have been a break-even trade. And so the next thing we looked at was that 5 minute gap here. And this 5 minute gap I ended up taking as a long. I liked the momentum on the close here. I liked the fact that we put in the OB. I liked that we had a good break-even point in the form of this 2 minute gap that we left unfilled. And so I figured, okay, I can jump in this 5 minute long. If we tap the 2 minute there, I'll just go break even. And then I'll hope that, we push through that. And, we'll see the highs hit. And one thing I mentioned while we were pushing up here was that I would prefer to see price actually chop here before hitting the break-even point or the 2 minute gap, because when the macro starts, we'll get more volume, which will allow us to push up through this 2 minute bearish gap. But because we got we hit the gap before the macro, price just rejected from it because there wasn't enough volume to get through that. And so that 5 minute trade ended up being a break even. And then this was the last trade of the day. And I said that this was a good trade that I would take because we had bias, momentum, and time all on our side. Obviously, we didn't have the model here because price didn't close above that last 1 minute gap there. And we didn't really get a good liquidity sweep, but we did have an SMT at the low. So in a way, that's kind of our liquidity sweep. So we have sweep, singular gap, not really V-shape, but you don't need the model here, right? Because we have bias, momentum, and time. And so take that trade, gets break even, get your first scale, and then obviously break even on the runners. So that was kind of the idea there. The only two trades I would have taken were the 5 minute long, which is what I took and got break even on, and then the 2 minute, which I also got scale and break even. But nah, I didn't think this long was too choppy because if you look at where the macro starts, we typically in a macro we'll see price manipulate in those first few minutes in the opposite direction of where the macro wants to go. And so for me, seeing the price come down here, in those first few minutes of the macro was just price manipulating. And then when we start to see that expansion move, we start seeing that at 10:53, right? And so we can measure it from there at like 7:14, and we get that candle close at 7:47. So that's what, 33 points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. That's 6 points per minute. For me, that's plenty good momentum to take as a trade. As far as the FEG delivery, I mean, that would have been nice to come down and sweep this low, but you don't need FEG delivery in order to take a trade when bias, momentum, and time align. All FEG delivery is important for is essentially, you get those liquidity sweeps, you get that, confirmation that price is delivering in a certain direction, and we're respecting those PD arrays. But we already knew that price was bullish, and we had bullish delivery, so there wasn't really a reason for us to come back there. And yeah, that's about it. As for right now, we're just chopping. I'm guessing we're waiting for the macro time for us to do something, and we'll keep an eye on the 15-minute and hourly close here as we come into 2 o'clock, so we can monitor to see if that gets closed over finally, and then we'll anticipate high of or previous weekly high or whatever that is here to get hit, and maybe we'll get like a pullback before that happens, where we can take a long setup and then catch that move to the high. If not, then maybe we'll see a short after the high gets hit. We also could just be waiting for NFP to hit this high, so we could just get like choppy PA today, which that would be fine too. I mean, our conditions are set, so we're not going to have to worry about taking a loss as long as we're following these 4 things. Just got to take a trade that's aligned with bias, and then just got to wait for that momentum, time, and model. And if we don't have the momentum, time, and model, then there's no reason to take a trade. We can just, I don't know, trade our evals or talk about the weather or play Wordle or whatever. Pretty easy. So hopefully, we have 102 people in here. I think most of you kind of got the daily recap so far, and kind of our understanding of where my thoughts are at as far as price goes. We have this 15-minute here, which would be nice to see a pullback to for a potential long. This 50% lines up nicely with that, so maybe we'll see that 15-minute get tapped into there, and then a long back up after that 50%'s been hit. I think I just answered your question, Baker. So 50% for me is just around, I don't know, what is it, 744.5, something like that. But yeah. Right, price aligns nicely with that unfilled 15-minute gap, so good target there. It also lines up nicely with this low. But yeah. Did I get in that trade, the 2 and 5 minute? Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned that. Getting a 5K payout, nice. Whoever has the highest, yeah, okay, read that. Did you guys alert? Did you get alerted with the 30-second right now? I didn't. I don't know. I don't have my indicator turned on, but let me check. Yeah, I did. Yep. Which is weird because it should be, series. So we didn't close below that second gap there, but yeah, I got alerted that with that first one. It actually ended up working. I'm seeing that happen a lot more often. Is like the indicator will like alert for a play that isn't technically the model, and then that play will actually end up working out. So 3-minute 9:42 short inversion. Okay. At live time, it didn't close below the gap to me, but every time I refresh the chart, it shows inverse now. Yeah, I don't know what that was. APOF. That's weird. This morning, I didn't understand the flip-flop bias topic. We shift bias depending on the time frame FEG is disrespected or depending on the dealing range at which the FEG is broken. Yeah, so Hernancho, basically the way that it works is anytime we look at like a given swing, okay, and there's multiple fair value gaps in that swing, you have to wait for each one of those fair value gaps in that swing to be broken in order to confirm that price is bearish. And then once we get to that next external high or external low or that next inefficiency, you have to be gauging to see like, okay, is price still bearish or are we still bullish, or maybe we're flipping here. And the way that we can tell that we're flipping is just, once again, are we disrespected bullish or bearish PD arrays. And so here, if you look at when the short triggered, we swept the high, okay? So when we sweep the high, that's when we start to go, okay, now let's monitor, this liquidity sweep. If price starts to disrespect bullish PDA raise after the liquidity sweep, that could be price signaling to us that, it wants to get bearish. And so we see price disrespect this bullish PDA right here. And if you look at the 2-minute time frame, we actually end up holding the inverse. And so technically this was a valid inverse trade, but obviously, we don't know for certain that price is bearish until after this 5-minute gap gets inversed, which we mentioned on the stream that, once this 5-minute gets inversed, that's price telling us that, we're disrespecting bullish PDA raise and respecting bearish ones, right? And so that's our flip in delivery. And so then we can see price just dive right after that, right after the 10 o'clock move, goes to our next liquidity target. And then, okay, now that we've hit the next liquidity target, we can start to reevaluate again, okay? What is price doing? Are we disrespecting or respecting bullish PDA raise? Oh, we're starting to disrespect bearish here and respect bullish. Okay, so now bias is flipped bullish after that liquidity sweep, and then we can just continue to go from there and, see what happens, right? And so as long as we're continuing to hold the more obvious important gaps, the ones that have pushed price higher and have history and, are significant to the chart, those gaps or that just proves that bias and delivery is still bullish, right? And so here, this 2-minute gap is important because we made a higher high out of it. But if we look at this gap that gets disrespected, but you can see price doesn't actually become bearish. I mean, I guess here we tap into it and make a higher high, but oh yeah, we hit the next liquidity point. So that's why, right? So we hit liquidity here, this 2-minute, we inverse it to the downside, and then we get an SMT here. So technically, price takes that next low, right? And then after we hit that next low with the SMT, we have to reevaluate again and go, okay, now we've hit this next low. Let's see what price wants to do. Oh, we started disrespecting bearish PDA raise to the upside. Okay, now bias is bullish. We can long here. Good risk to reward, good targets, etc. Right? So that's all you're doing. Every single time price hits an inefficiency or hits liquidity, you're reevaluating. You're constantly reevaluating. And that's how you can kind of get to a point where you're advanced with, reading price and you can, understand the reason why price is reacting the way it is or behaving the way it is. And it's definitely something that, you don't just pick up on and start doing immediately. It's something that you have to practice and get really good at. So I can understand how that would be confusing. But yeah, essentially, you're just monitoring to see, what price is respecting, what price is disrespecting, and what happens at inefficiencies and liquidity levels. So I think that's that all addressed. Sorry that took a minute. This 1-minute PA looks like we're cooked. True, but price can clean up in a moment's notice. If you saw yesterday, if you were paying attention to PM, we were chopping for a good while here into the session, and then all of a sudden, right in the macro time, bang, we get a big move. We get a nice long setup after the fact, and then we went back to chopping. But that's kind of, what PM's all about. It's just about waiting. It's about being patient and, not forcing yourself to take trades when price is in choppy conditions, and then following your rules, following this idea here, bias, momentum, time model. And then once that presents itself, okay, that's when you attack, right? Am I including all the obvious FEG in the leg, or? Oh, wait, okay. Never mind. What do I think about the 1244 IFEG that sent price up? Let's take a look. 1244. I mean, okay, so we're not in the macro time. We don't really get a liquidity sweep, so we don't have model or time, so this isn't something I would take. You need model and you need 2 here. I mean, it goes along with bias, which is good. Momentum here was decent too. If you measure it from this candle to when we inverse, 13 points in 2 minutes. So that's good, but yeah, because time and model there just don't align, it's not something I'm going to take. Yeah, right. I mean, you need one other thing there, Frosty. You need either time, so you need the macro to start, right there at that inverse, or you need the sweep, and we didn't get it. Took it anyway. Alrighty, send it, I guess. Is this valid 30-second playing out? Yeah, so like I said, I'm not going to long this high up unless we have a good draw on liquidity, which right now we don't. Momentum here isn't that good. If we start the swing here, what is that, 7 points in, I guess, a minute, but like, I mean, we're not really forming 1 minute for value gap, so this is just like bad PA. Momentum's bad here. We're not in a macro time when we get to 30 seconds, so time and momentum aren't there, so already that disqualifies the trade. And then obviously, you know, overall we're just really high up in premium, so we want to usually see a better retrace than here, maybe even to like 50%, which we just didn't get. So does inversing this 1 hour at all determine your bias for the session? Yeah, I mean, inversing this 1 hour and 15-minute gap, which I mentioned at the beginning, is like the last step that we need in order to confirm prices going to the high. I mean, what inversing the 15 and 1 hour does for us during PM is essentially tells us, okay, we're probably going to go hit the high soon. Inversing the 4 hour tells us like, okay, we're definitely going to hit this high before coming back and taking like sell side on the 4 hour. So like I would not expect price to come back here to this 4 hour low at 638 before hitting this high. Does that make sense? Or like yeah, I just wouldn't expect price to balance inefficiencies before hitting liquidity. I would expect price to hit the liquidity and then come back to balance the inefficiencies. Oh, it's raining. It is raining at my house. It's pouring in Florida. It's always pouring in Florida, right? How long for an A+ setup? Well, we're in the macro time now, so hopefully not too much longer. Maybe if we get like price to run down here, retrace, and we get a good V shape back up after hitting 50, maybe that'd be something we're interested in taking. You guys got to learn patience. You know, you'll know when we get a long setup that's good. You'll see it and you'll go, oh, that's it. That's the whole light bulb idea, right? Do you see any chance of getting a retrace short to the unfilled 5? I mean, that would be ideal, right? Like, when you guys ask me, like, is there a chance that this happening or is this going to happen? Or like, I have no idea, right? I just respond to what I see on the charts and adapt to those changing like price conditions, and that's about it. I'm never going to like say like definitively like, okay, this is 100% going to happen, because anything can happen. You know, we can have Trump come out in a second and say, okay, all tariffs are canceled, you know, and then pump the market, right? Yeah, okay, for sure, Seb. Would I find a short to the 5 minute is good play? No, because that goes against bias, right? So bias is that key component here. So I'm just going to be looking for longs today. If we got like a long after the 5 minute gets filled in, sure. Right? But probably not like a short to it. I don't want to fade bias. Are those 15-minute relative equal lows relevant? Probably not. Yeah, these ones here, probably not. Maybe it's relevant because this is like lunch lows, but that's not really related to the equal lows necessarily. That's more related to time-based liquidity. So any of the longs that happened during the lunch session and onward probably have their stops at lunch lows. So that's why that's a decent liquidity pool, but nah, probably not the equal lows or relative equal. $115 people in PM. We're not even like at our peak time yet. How's it going, guys? Welcome. We will sweep 21,695 and get a long at 100% guarantee. Uh-oh. I get sunburned real easily, so it's alright. Okay. We did tap the 15 minute and then pump back up. Yeah. Well, yeah, we did tap the 15, but we never hit 50%. Have you ever been to Florida? Yeah, I've been to Florida twice. I went to where did we go? I think we went to Universal the first time in Orlando, and then the second time we went to the Kennedy Space Center and like Cocoa Beach and I don't know what else. Oh, we also went to Tampa, I think. We just kind of drove all over the place. Do I live in Michigan? Yeah, I do. Had 3 My Funded Futures challenges and almost passed without any news trades. Messed up yesterday by oversizing, but already recovered a lot of it today. PM session been forced me to face my frustration and be more patient. For sure, for sure. Yikes, Columbus. Yikes. It's not even like the good city in Ohio. It's like the... yikes. You're like the annoying younger brother. And I'm not talking about Cleveland. That's not the good city. Cleveland is like horrible. um I don't know. I hate Ohio because having to drive through it to go anywhere is like the worst until you get to like southeast Ohio, like southern Ohio. That's when you start getting some cool scenery with like the Appalachian Mountains and the Mississippi and whatever. But yeah, everything in between basically there and the Michigan border is like just corn. It's just corn, man. It's just corn everywhere. So Michigan's kind of the same too. I mean, if you're not like Metro Detroit or downriver or like somewhere on the western part of the state, it's pretty much just corn. And like, oh no, not corn. Corn and oh god, what is it? Sugar beets and soybeans. And like sod. There's a couple sod farms too. All right, so coming up here, making higher highs, kind of anticipated during the macro. Hopefully we get a good 1 hour candle close here where we close over that hourly gap. And then same thing with the 15-minute. That would be cool too. Right now it appears like we're closing over it, but we'll see. Wasn't the 1 minute at 142 a decent play? I wouldn't take it ever. It's outside the macro and it doesn't fit the model, so probably not. But yeah, it goes along with bias. It's just an FU long, basically. For sure, Jeezy. Yeah, Indiana's pretty bad too. I don't know. All the like Midwest states that are like west of Wisconsin aren't great. I don't know. I've been to Iowa one time, and that was like, okay, once you get past the Mississippi River, which is just like the Iowa border with Wisconsin, it's just like, or not Wisconsin, Illinois, it's just horrible. What's the dream here? Probably a retrace and then longs to target the previous week high. Yeah, Southern Indiana's probably fine. How many AA trades have you had in the past 2 weeks? I don't know. A bunch. Last week we had a bunch. Last week we took during AM. Because I think I was streaming a couple days. We took. God, what did I take? When did last week start? The 26th? So yeah, 26th there was Memorial Day, right? So no trades there. And then we took the long, I think on the 3 minute on Tuesday. Oh, no. I didn't take that. Then Wednesday we took the short. That was good. That was a full winner. And then Thursday, I remember taking chase entry shorts, but like I don't remember there being like a really good setup. I think there might have been a long that day that was really good. Yeah, so that long that we got was good that day, but I don't know. It just kind of chopped, I think. And then what was Friday? I don't remember what Friday was. Yeah, Friday I didn't take any trades. I think I had a one-on-one that day. And then yeah, I don't know. I've gotten AM trades the last 2 weeks. Um, 2 minute at 8:42 yesterday. That's all the way down here. No, I mean, I guess it's just like not too obvious. It's like a 4 point gap. We swept liquidity here inside this low and got a bullish reaction there. And then yeah, we still had actually with those relative it's not horrible. It's not horrible. Close is I mean, we're not really in a macro time here, but we have good momentum. We have the model and we have bias. So yeah, this is a good long. I don't hate it. 2 minute long. Sure. All right, we got 13 seconds. Let's keep an eye on this 15-minute candle close here. Was this a good setup? Outside of the... No, we've already been over that. No, I said nah. All right, so we closed over the 15. So should be good to go to that previous week high. What we can do now is hopefully we can leave this high intact. And then we can get a retrace and then we can retarget the high. That's about it. I'll get rid of that. I mean, everything's inverse now here. Maybe there's like a 5 minute still intact. Yeah, it looks like a 5 minute, but that shouldn't matter. Not in context of the higher time frame. And we just took that high that I wanted to see intact. So, all right. Looks like we're just going to go up. I guess maybe options is like the only play here because we're just not getting any pullbacks. So, let's see. Where are we at with options? IV is very low today. Okay. Do you think IRL to ERL is higher probability than ERL to IRL? I mean, it's about the same. But yeah, usually like lower time frame draws are going to be lower probability than higher time frame. So I guess in that scenario, IRL to ERL is probably higher probability. But like, the thing is like ERL usually what'll happen is like we'll get a reaction to something on the higher time frame, and so that can be higher probability too. It just kind of depends, Brandon. It's pretty subjective. Depends on a lot of different things that are happening in the moment. Well, part of me wants to take calls here just to previous week high, but at the same time, I only like to take options trades when we get a good retrace, but there's just not really like a good IFVG entry. I don't really like taking calls at high of day. That seems like poor risk management, so not going to force anything yet, but hopefully we get a pullback, you know. Be patient. The idea here isn't necessarily for us to, catch every move or the whole move. It's just to catch a piece of the pie, so trying to take longs here this high up in the range is probably not smart until we get a decent sized pullback, but we can leave 50 drawn. Still has that 15-minute gap there. Now we have that low too that we can target after sweeping the high. I wouldn't take this 1 minute short because it goes against the bias, but we can watch it play out and then maybe get a long after the 1 minute short plays out here. Shorts from Daily FVG. I mean, nah, I'm just bullish to the high here. 858. This is a plus mechanical setup, just goes against the bias. Was it bad to take this? I mean, it's not something I would take, but it's not like a horrible thing. I'm not going to force anything yet. The only time I'll force something is if it's worth forcing. Like it would be worth it to force a chase play if we have like a good draw on liquidity, like a data wick or a equal highs or lows or something. How much sense does it make to target equal lows if this inverses? Uh-oh. I think my Discord might have just crashed. Or something's happening, I don't know. Yeah, I can't access Discord right now. I can't read chat. I might have to restart Discord, guys. Give me a sec. Okay. All right, I'm back. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Okay, cool. Why is it bad to short at all-time highs? It's not bad to short at all-time highs. I mean, I don't prefer doing it, but usually the reason why it's bad is because you're just shorting against the bias. And normally at all-time highs, the bias is bullish. I mean, Ari, it sucks because usually that's what we need in order to take a trade, but like, it is what it is, you know? Like, I can't really have any thoughts about it. It's just like what the market's doing. Is it realistic to fade this bullish action even if we get inverse off of the soup? I'm not going to do that because I don't want to fade the higher time frame, because what I've seen a lot happen is you'll try and take a short that goes against the bias and it'll just fail. Like, for example, this short here at 11:35. Or like, I don't know, what's another example? I guess this 1 minute short failed, but the 2 minute held, so that's kind of a bad example. But like this short here, this short we got a 1043 failed. Went against the bias. So that's why I'm just not going to do it. Is the 4 hour never closed above? If the 4 hour, yeah, I would consider the short if the 4 hour never closed above, but obviously it did, right? Because the bias hasn't been confirmed on the higher time frame to be bullish because delivery hasn't been confirmed. But yeah, like here, because you know we've just been so bullish all afternoon. That's why I said, like, you know, options might not be a horrible play here, but I just don't like longing on anything when we're this high up, so that's why I'm not going to do it. We've been pretty consistent so far with the options plays, and I'm not going to try and, you know, make something happen that just isn't there. Especially now that we're coming out of like the macro time in about 3 minutes. And we've hit that buy side. Nah, Flanagan, we didn't. What would we need to inverse for you to consider taking shorts? Probably this 15 minute. If we inverse this 15 minute to the downside, I would expect shorts to work. So at least this low, because that would be inversing higher time frame bearish PD raise. This 1 minute short does look very interesting. I can't lie, but it's invalid anyway, so I have no FOMO if this were to work out. Why not the 5 minute? Because the 15 minute is the higher time frame gap. So if we're thinking about what's relevant to the higher time frame, it's going to be higher time frame gaps, not lower time frame. If we inverse the 5 minute, all that tells us is lower time frame delivery, which higher time frame delivery is always going to have more precedent over lower time frame, because the higher time frames are more significant. It carries more weight in terms of like the bias of the market. And so if the higher time frame is still telling us that we're bullish in terms of delivery and the lower time frame is telling us bearish, that's not enough for me to go, okay, I'm going to flip my bias now. $30 short was invalid. Each one of these were invalid. This one never closed below. This one never closed below. This hit the low before the close. This hit the low before the close. So yeah, no valid 30-second shorts there. Just, I do like though here how we get that manipulation leg before the down move. I mean, this is definitely what I'd prefer to see, because I'm already like hesitant about taking like long options here. So if we get a pullback, you know, maybe that'll give us that opportunity that I'm looking for. Maybe after this low gets swept. One minute short here was invalid, so you didn't miss nothing. You're good, Phoenix. I think we'll get those equal lows on NQ. The 15-minute ones? Maybe. Maybe if we inverse the 15-minute. But probably not until then. These are relative equal, by the way. I don't have any equal lows on NQ. You still think it's going to work? No roadblocks? We actually do have a roadblock. It's this 5-minute gap that we still haven't inversed. So once that 5-minute gets inversed, we should be good. But if it doesn't get inversed, then, well, maybe we'll just go back up. Yeah, profitable. I'm not changing my bias until this 15-minute gap gets inversed. I'm saying if we inverse this 5-minute, I would see why it would make sense to go for this low. If we don't inverse this 5-minute, obviously that's just telling us the price is respecting bullish PD raise, and we'll just go up on the lower time frame. He mentioned, you know, there's no roadblocks on the way down here, and I said, but there is, and it's just that 5-minute. You take it at the 5-minute inverses? Nah, I won't. I won't, because it's against the higher time frame bias. So just so I can, actually, this will just be the catch-all for everyone that keeps asking me, right? Because I know you guys are all fiending for a trade. I'm not taking shorts unless the 15-minute inverses. That goes for any short, okay? There, catch all. By the way, guys, remember I jinxed us yesterday for, you know, talking about winning trades. So today we're probably going to take a loss. By the way, the last time I checked that we took a loss or had a losing day was the day before NFP, which tomorrow is the day before NFP. So probably going to advise just trade eval tomorrow because we have NFP on Friday. Yeah, I'll trade PM tomorrow. Yep. But yeah, tomorrow is normally a pretty low probability day. I'll probably just be educating and talking about stuff. I already mentioned yesterday. We're probably only going to get 2 setups this week, considering tomorrow is the bad day. It's probably the worst day for PM in the entire month. And then Friday, we're probably going to get our expansion move in the morning because NFP is going to move price. And then after that, our targets will have been hit and we'll probably just chop for PM. So today is probably the last day that we'll see like a high probability trade. I mean, we could get lucky tomorrow and maybe we delay our move for NFP and we leave the data wick intact on Friday. But most likely today is that last day for a potential trade. So we do have this 1 minute inverse to the upside here. You can see that 5 minute ended up holding. We haven't quite closed over all of it. We've closed over that first gap. Still waiting on that second one. And yeah, I mean, if we inverse this to the upside, I mean, that's price disrespecting bearish PD arrays and respecting bullish ones. So clearly lower time frame delivery is still bullish. And then obviously you can see there, this 1 minute does look like it might fail here, but hasn't failed yet. So still technically intact. What about tomorrow's 8:30 news? What is that? Unemployment claims? It's usually what it is. Yeah, U.S. initial jobless claim. So, I mean, yeah, maybe NFP will, or jobless claims or unemployment claims, whatever it is, will give us a data wick or something for us to take a trade tomorrow morning. What's AM session like the day before NFP? Pretty mixed. Some days it's been good, some days it's been bad. I just know PM session's always been not very good. Probably Walrus, yeah. Just going off probabilities. I mean, the only way that I think we get another good PM trade after today is if we get like the data wick from NFP on Friday and we somehow keep that intact until PM session. By the way, if you guys are going to do the eval passing strat on Friday, I think that's a good time to do it because Apex funding fees are only $100. So you'll save like $30 per account you pass tomorrow if you try and get some Apexes passed. Yeah, the activation fee is $30 less. Yep. Or whatever. It's $100 for everything. So it depends on what account you have. I was specifically talking about the 25K, but for 50Ks, that's $40 less. Till when? I don't know. Let me check. Until the 8th. They're 70 something percent off, but the resets are $50. They're not 90% off anymore. Nah, I think it should just be when you go to sign the agreement, Murmur. It'll be there. What's the eval strat? Yeah, so limit orders and then just like hedging. That's basically it. Okay, Seb. Awesome, Murmur, yeah. So yeah, now we're out of the macro, still just chopping. I mean, not a whole lot for me to say. Basically, as long as we're respecting this 5 minute, still lower time frame, bullish delivery. Probably just going to expect higher highs made here. Probably have to wait for a macro time for us to do something. What time does your PM session end? Usually around 4. Sometimes we end a little sooner just because, we've either taken a trade or there's not really anything going on. What is your chart background color? F1 EED6. By the way, this morning during AM stream was absolutely crazy. You guys need to chill out. I'm guessing it wasn't most of you, right? Like I'm guessing it's just the loud minority. But I mean, if you're gonna pay here to like, I guess learn and talk about trades, like I feel like you have to come in with a good attitude because some of the attitudes this morning were not there. Yeah, I do use Trade for Apex. But yeah, it looks like we're gonna probably inverse this 1 minute to the upside here, which would cause this 1 minute short to fail, which is totally like that makes total sense, right? We respected that 5 minutes, so there's the 1 minute short fail. How many of you guys took this 1 minute short? Yeah, EJ. He asked me a couple weeks ago actually to cover for him this morning. All right, good job, good job. How many of you would have seen this short in the past and been like, "Oh wow, we swept the previous high there. We got a manipulation leg bearish reaction. Who cares that the trade went invalid? It looks good. Let's take it." Right? I mean, this is an invalid setup, so you should never take this trade. But other than that, I mean, you shouldn't take this trade because it goes against the bias, right? Basically, people were just being like, I don't know, they're just being stupid. Like, I think a couple people took a loss and they got butthurt. Like, that's what I think happened. And so they lashed out and were like being unnecessarily like mean to Dodgy and like saying like bad things. And like I understand that like some of you guys might like the way that I teach more, and that's fine. We all learn differently, right? But just because you like the way I teach better doesn't mean that you need to be going and shitting on somebody else. Can I explain what a breaker block is? Which one is valid and which one isn't valid? Yeah, so a breaker is just like an inverse order block, and the best order blocks or best breakers are going to be ones that appear at like swing points. So let me find us a breaker. Okay, so this is kind of a breaker here. It's on the 5 minute time frame. You can see here price puts in this 5 minute candle here as an order block, and then price comes back up after hitting the low and inverses that. That turns it into a breaker. Let's see. I don't know. There's not really like a whole lot of good breakers, honestly, today. Like somebody mentioned a unicorn setup this morning, and I'm just like, huh? Where? I thought I saw something there. Maybe it's on the 15 minute. I don't know. I'll point it out the next time an obvious one happens. They're just like, I mean, I can like point out a bunch, but they're just like not that good. Okay, so like here, this one's actually pretty good on the 15-minute. So we get the order block here at the swing. Price closes over here. Then we inverse it to the downside, and then price uses like the whole order block here to reject price and pair that in tandem with the fair value gap, and there you go. There's your unicorn setup, right? So I guess that's like a breaker, right? Usually they're best paired with fair value gaps, and when you can create like a 2022 model scenario. That whole model itself, where you pair the breaker with the 2022 model, is actually called a unicorn model, right? The song be the same one as the one this morning? Yeah, basically the exact same, right? You're longing after buy side's been hit without seeing a retrace. So, like, you'll probably watch this fail. Why would it have been invalid? Because, so this is the swing that forms the fair value gap, right? Starting at this low, going to this high. And price hit the low before we got the inverse, so it's invalid. Yeah, for sure, EJ, yeah. I mean, like, I get it, but at the same time, like, it's his Discord. Like, if he wants to talk, I'd rather have him talk. People are paying to hear him speak, not me, so. So, yeah, there you go. There's the 1 minute failing there. Oh, couldn't you take that short for a very quick scalp for the first low? It's just invalid. Like, we already hit the low first, so I wouldn't even take it, even, you know, even for the scalp there. It's just not the model. But yeah, I mean, I can understand, you guys having problems with the mic, this morning. Just watching his vlog he posted, he just met up with one of his students IRL, and the kid said he got his car because of Dodgy. That's sick. Yeah, for sure, Yuki. I mean, I want to. I just don't want to get caught in a scenario where I'm speaking up over him. I'm just trying to catch up, by the way. I'm like really behind on messages. I'm at 2:22. I'm 4 minutes behind. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, people were calling in. We're just trolling for sure. How does the unicorn model work? Just the same as like the 2022, right? I mean, it's not really like something we talk about in year too often. If it shows up, I'll mention it. But same idea, right? Where you get the 2022 setup. If we re-hit the low after the 2022, that's where you go break even. And you're just trying to predict essentially that SMR, right? That smart money reversal. You're just taking a setup like way later in the model than when the IFEG will get you in. The unicorn model typically prints after the IFEGs already enter. So that's why we take the IFEG there first, because sometimes the unicorn model won't get triggered, but the IFEG model will. And so you get more trade entries. For sure, IDK. For sure, mommy. Mind explaining 50%? Yeah, so just premium discount, right? We want to shorten discount or shorten premium, long in discount. And so 50% retraces are basically saying, okay, whenever price takes liquidity, we typically create inefficiencies below that need to be balanced before seeing, the next inefficiency or liquidity point hit. And so that retrace to 50% normally aligns with some inefficiency. It allows price to tag in people that are waiting to go long in discount, and then, we go long because a lot of orders start coming in right then. Do you have the indicator set to momentum or swing? I think swing. Let me check though. Dude, am I stupid? Where is it? Yeah, sweep. This one, right? No opposing sweep. Yeah, for sure, Seb. $12.30 to $14.50. What are we saying? Oh, I guess this 15-minute here is kind of a breaker. I mean, it's not really at a swing point, but low there, create a bearish order block there with that 15-minute candle, and then, you know, obviously there, price retraces to the breaker, and we go. This is actually technically the unicorn model here on the 15-minute, I just realized. Almost to the tick there. I mean, we missed it a little bit, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of a unicorn model. You want something usually a little bit cleaner than that to form. But yeah, I mean, kind of want to short the 5-minute close below. Well, good thing you don't have to short because we're just going up. Yeah, yeah, protector. That's fine. I think the whole Apex trade thing is like, I don't know. He probably just shouldn't mention it, but I feel like he either needs to mention every single trade he takes and why, and mention like if like the trade is actually something that he likes subjectively, or he just needs to mention none of it and just like go back to the rating system like how it used to be. Yay or nay? No short setups until the 15-minute inverse. So nay. Okay, protector. Yeah, we do have equal lows. We do have equal lows. You just souped there, or? What 15-minute the Bissy? I was just talking about like the unicorn setup. Like technically, this is the unicorn model here. We get the breaker block paired with the 2022 price retrace to 2022. So that's unicorn. Man, this is something should have bought PM yesterday. All right, Bert. Yeah, I know we're really moving here. Um, I feel like you got in on probably like one of the worst weeks for PM of the month. The next week it'll be really good. And then obviously FOMC week is very good too. When's FOMC? PPI. I think when FOMC should be here. Yeah, so FOMC is the 18th. So next week and the week after should be all right. Sure, Fahrenheit. I have it on right now. I think like what Dodgy wants me to do as far as the indicator goes, or at least this is what I would do if I was trying to sell this, is I wouldn't want to have like my person that's streaming run the indicator, because then it's like, why would I buy the indicator if Reliable's just going to use it on stream, right? So I'm okay with like showing it for today because there's a lot of people in here and we can like free trial it. But I think like I'm not gonna show it unless like there's like a trade that it alerts, and then we can go back and say like, look, this is what it alerted, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think today it showed like this 2 minute short here, okay, which I wouldn't take because we have a 5 minute below, right? So delivery is not confirmed bearish until that 5 minute gets inversed. And then it also awarded this 30-second, but for some reason it's not there. But yeah, this 30-second, it picked up earlier in the day. I just don't know why it's not appearing now. Maybe it's because it's too old or something. And then it picked up this one with the sweep and then the inverse, but technically there's a little tiny gap below that that needed to be inverse too, but I guess that worked to the target. And then yeah, that's about it. So I'm trading 6 MNQ and a 50K with my risk being 25 to 30 points and targeting 2 to 1 or 2.5 to 1. Would I be in breach of any rules? I don't think so. Yeah, I think you're good. How often do I take FU long / shorts? Only when the drawn liquidity is very good, EJ. Does it make a difference if you show the indicator? I feel like the real future of it is the alert. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it shouldn't really matter because anything the indicator is going to alert, like I'm going to pick up on as well. But I mean, we want to, I guess, like provide some exclusivity of it, right? I mean, why would anyone buy it if they can just use my indicator, right? Yeah, maybe I can use replay mode around that 30-second. Good idea. Yeah, let's try that. Oh, wait, it popped up here. Okay, so it popped up on the 1 minute, but obviously that's not the trade. So let's see. Yeah, okay, here we go. So you can see there it picked up on it. Does the indicator send alerts when the inversion candle closes or before that? I feel like it's both. It'll send like a potential inversion and then it sends one when it does inverse. Right? You can just set up the settings. Yeah, the I think the reason why Taji's saying that he's taking this trade with his Apex is because he doesn't really have any evals left, and so his Apex accounts are like his evals, and then his live account is like his funded. So this is the message. Yeah. Well, this is not very good. Hopefully, we get something in like 15 minutes here when the 250 macro starts. Why does the indicator link work? Why does the indicator link not work? They took $1 from my card, and then I got this message. It was not available. I don't know, Marcus. Send in a ticket on the Discord, and I'm guessing somebody will get back to you with that. That's weird. Yeah, for sure, Sniper. Yep. Yeah, we can. I mean, we're not really doing anything right now, so. Oh, it just alerted. That's a tiny gap. All right, I gotta change the settings. I think it's just the default. This should remove that. Yeah, okay. So yeah, there you go. There it is on GC. It alerted a small one because I hadn't adjusted the settings, but yeah. I guess it alerted this 1 minute. This 1 minute was a break even. I need 2 minute. Okay, so it alerted this 2 minute short, which obviously that's not right because there's a bunch of fair value gaps in the way. And then I lowered this 2 minute long. This 2 minute long cooked. Swept the low. Good inverse there. Let's take a look at the 3 minute. I wonder why this one didn't alert here. I feel like this 3 minute long was good. That's weird. That should have probably alerted. And then maybe it's just too far back. Like let's go to the replay mode again. Let's see if this 3 minute long gets alerted. No, that's weird. I don't know why that didn't alert. Interesting. Maybe this liquidity sweep was too far away or something. Oh, it alerted this 5 minute. Okay, so maybe that was the 3 minute. So it alerted the 5, but if we go back to the 3, yeah, so it doesn't pick up the 3 because it's on the 5. So it probably just prioritized the higher time frame there. So there we go. There's the 5 minute inverse. But yeah. Are you finding that lately relative equal lows and highs have been kind of yeah, I mean, they're not necessarily useless, but yeah, I mean, just relative equal lows and highs in themselves aren't really like great draws on liquidity. They're like the 7th, maybe even 8th best draw. Like they're pretty weak in terms of draws on liquidity. Notice that the FEG filter plays a big impact. If you have the filter on, it will only alert those that hit a higher time frame for value gap, so I can be more confident. Okay, for sure. Yeah, so equal highs and lows, just like LRLR, just like with anything, have their own tier list of like importance, right? And so equal highs and lows that like form at swing points like these ones are pretty good. But these are on the lower time frame. So if you go to like the 15 minute, oh, they are in the 15 and the, okay. So yeah, these ones are significant. Like I think that we should come back to these if our delivery switches. So like if we inverse this 1 minute, like yeah, that would be I would be shocked if we didn't hit the low if we inverse this 1 minute. Right? But you have to pair draw and liquidity with delivery. So if we're just continuing to deliver bullish here, there's no reason to think we're going to get to these equal lows. And that got me confused for so long, right? Because Dodgy always says, like, don't long with equal lows below, don't short with equal highs above. And so I was thinking, like, oh, okay, these are the draw and liquidity right now. This is where price is going to go. But the thing is, if delivery never switches, we're never going to come back for these. Like, we're just going to continue to be bullish. And so that's kind of what I feel like some of you guys have to break out of, that mindset of, like, oh, you know, we have equal lows there. We have all these draws and liquidity there. Like, why wouldn't you want to target those? Why are you still bullish? And it's like, well, delivery has never once switched. So there's no reason for me to think that those draws and liquidity are going to be hit, right? Yeah, just keep working on it, Shotgun. Just keep paying attention to the the gaps that I mark out that are like significant for delivery, right? And focus on like what is the higher time frame doing. Maybe focus less on what the lower time frame's doing. Sometimes people get like really tunnel visioned on what the lower time frame's doing, and they completely forget about the higher time frame. And so the higher time frame is always going to hold more significance. And so if you forget about that, you're going to end up taking losers unnecessarily because you're against the higher time frame bias. Is this PA real? Yeah, it's real. Bert, you're gonna have a hard next 30 days, man. If you can't stomach this price action, if you're struggling with patience, because this is pretty typical PM price action. Our goal in this session is just to wait, just be patient, and get that one opportunity that we usually get during PM. Right? It's kind of like fishing. You know, when you go fishing, there's some sessions where you'll go out on the boat and you'll get nothing, no bites, nothing active on the water, just like horrible time, right? And then other sessions for fishing, you get one bite, you get one fish, right? And that makes the whole session. And some days the fish are active as hell, and you just get like fish after fish after fish, right? That's PM, right? Right now the fish are all sleeping, I guess. For sure, Fahrenheit. You know, if we tried to trade tomorrow, it would be like trying to fish in the storm. Like, you might be able to catch a trade, but worst case scenario, your boat capsizes and you end up dying, right? That would be like, blowing a funded or whatever, right? So tomorrow's going to be pretty inclement weather for PM, and so we're probably just going to stay in and not go out and fish tomorrow. We're probably just going to hop on the what's it called? What's that one fishing video game? That you see in like the bars or whatever. Bass Pro Fishing, or what's it called? That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. We're going to be playing the fishing video game. We're just going to be trading eval. Nah, Fahrenheit. I don't know. It's been a while since I've thrown out a new analogy, so I thought of that one right now. Why not? It's basically the same idea, right? Trading is a lot like fishing. Every single time you go out on the water, you're not going to catch a fish. But as long as you stay consistent and you find a good fishing spot, or you find a good technique, you're going to walk away with some fish. Right? And we've always had the fishing analogy, right? We want to train fishermen in here. We don't want to just give you free fish, so it's another way to look at it. What if you got a life jacket? Well, ideally your life jacket is like your daily loss limit. All right. Can I explain OSFL in Fortnite terms? Yeah, sure. Let's think. Okay. I have one analogy, but it's like for competitive Fortnite. So let me think of one that I can just use for like normal Fortnite. I got it. Okay. This is OSFL. So you want to like fight other people in the game, right? But maybe your loot's not that good, or you have low health or whatever, right? And you see two squads ahead of you, okay? And these two squads are kind of like your conflicting draws in OSFL, where you have your data high and your data low. What you want to have happen is you want those two squads to start fighting, and you want one side of those squads to end up dying off or losing, right? And that gets rid of your conflicting draw. And then you can go in and you can third party that remaining team and just pick them off because they're a really easy fight, right? So instead of making your situation more difficult with trying to trade conflicting draws in OSFL, you wait for the team to get weak, and then you go and attack them, and it's a really easy setup, and it's like free money, free win for you and your squad. Okay, that's OSFL in Fortnite terms. Yeah, for sure, protector. Yeah. Okay, so OSFL in 100 men versus gorilla terms would be like, okay, you first jump in the arena with your gorilla and 99 of your best uh, comrades, right? And instead of you being the one that goes and attacks the gorilla first, you wait for the gorilla to get tired, taking out that conflicting draw, and then once the gorilla's tired, then you go and attack it. That one wasn't as good as the Fortnite one, but all right. So here's 250. Still respecting this 1 minute gap. I think if we inverse it, we should see these equal lows get hit. Stop 13 points. So obviously can't take partials at there, but maybe target there. And it's invalid. Wow. All right, so a little retrace here. Maybe we can see like price put in, the hourly candle. We sweep previous hourly low. We put in the 1 hour gap here, and then we target previous hourly high. That could be a play. Maybe let's see, where is this low at? This low, okay, so that would close the hour. So we don't really want to see that happen. What we want to see here is maybe price stall for a bit in the macro, form the hourly candle at 3, and then come down, grab that low, run previous hourly low, and then we get a long. That could be good. But yeah, once again, we'll pay attention to this 5 minute gap. If this 5 minute gap gets inversed, obviously, I'll probably be assuming price will go to this low. It already looks like based off this momentum, that's what we want to do. We do have, you're saying we have an SMT. We do have a bullish SMT with this low, yep. Yeah, exactly, Vert. That's why I've been kind of eyeing it all session. We want that 50% level. And we can get a nice long setup, hopefully. And then, can somebody tell me what my condition is for price to become bearish? See if you guys were paying attention. Inverse the 15 minute. Alrighty, Vert was paying attention. So yeah. If we just start death candling past this liquidity level, then obviously, that will be bearish. Here, okay. Inside the macro, good 30-second here. Swept out the equal lows. Technically still bullish with as long as we're respecting this 5 minute. So we have macro. We have model. We have bias. I mean, decent momentum. This play isn't horrible. Biggest issue I have with it is that, it's just really high up in premium. And I won't long in premium without a good draw on liquidity. So, just one of my rules that I've created in order to be more profitable. But technically, meets the model condition here where we have, sweep, singular gap, good momentum. It meets the macro time, that we were looking for. And what else? I don't know. I guess that's about it. But isn't a weekly high not a good draw? I mean, it's fine, but the best draws, in my opinion, are going to be unfilled higher time frame gaps, data wicks, and equal highs, and we just don't have those. I mean, the previous week high is like an external draw on liquidity. It's like the 5th best draw underneath LRLR. So I'm kind of hoping that we don't get this 30-second long here. But if we do, I mean, depending on how long this takes to close, it could end up being like bad momentum. Swing starts here, so 10 points. So yeah, if it takes another minute to close, this will be bad momentum, which removes that from the equation. But we still have time, and we still have the model, and we still have bias, so it's still fine. Maybe I'll take this. Maybe I'll take this on like eval or something. How many points is this? I just don't like longing this high up on funded, but on eval maybe it's okay. So there's the inverse. Indicator alerted it. And then yeah, I guess break even would probably be that next gap up. So we have the 1 minute or 2 minute here. We also have that 30-second internal high where we're technically supposed to go break even. And then target would probably just be the highs here. And maybe you leave a runner. So let's see. Let's get to that break even, I guess. Five-minute candle closed here. Didn't inverse that 5-minute gap, so we're still lower time frame bullish. Delivery's bullish. Also, overall, it's like, would you guys say this is good price action or not? Like, that's another thing to consider too, right? Probably not the best PA. Most likely, this play just turns into a break-even trade where we come up, we hit that upper gap, and then come right back to the entry. Like, that makes sense to me. Break even is like so close to the entry. It's like less than 5 points. See, I don't really want to see the stalling in an inverse. You just normally want to see price just bump up to the next target, especially when there really isn't any inefficiencies left behind. Whenever I see price starting to stall in an inverse, that's usually a sign that it's probably going to fail. But hasn't failed yet. That would just be like a close back below the 30-second IVG there. So just kind of doing its thing. Definitely could still pump up here. Got 3 more minutes left of the macro there before we hit 3 o'clock. So we will see. It's also a 2-minute short down though. It's. I mean, it's invalid. The 2-minute short was invalid, so not really. But yeah, minute and a half here before that next hourly candle gets put in. I mean, I think if I was in this trade, I would want to be break even before 3 o'clock, so. Yeah, but like, I mean, there's no roadblock in the way before that 1 minute, so kind of pointless to go break even before then, Murmar. But looks like it's going to be a fail. We got 1 more minute here before 3 o'clock. Maybe the 30-second here holds. We got 10 more seconds, but doesn't really look like it, so. Oh, wait. Maybe it's good. There's the close. So technically good still. It's funny because like when you have NFP in 2 days, is it even really worth wasting a play for your eval on a setup like this when you can just like pass on NFP? 5 minute held. Okay, that's good. All right, still good, still good. Good candle there. Kind of concerned about previous hourly low here, but hopefully that doesn't matter and we just go up and hold the 5 minute. Yeah, for the most part, whale. I've never seen a NFP or CPI where it didn't work for at least one. Oh, wow. It's going to save it. Just keep up this momentum, NQ. All right, well, break even there, I guess. Wow, really good candle there. Okay. All right, so I guess we're in good shape. Uh, that's the setup that works. Are we? I mean, yeah. Technically, there was nothing wrong with it other than the fact we were just super high in premium. It's just, it is what it is. Probably just going to be a break-even trade, though. If we're being honest here. That's what I said kind of going into the trade. It's probably going to be a break-even, so. Yeah, I mean, break-even. That's so funny. All right. I guess how many of you took that on eval? Did I not get stopped out? Nope. Price never stopped out. Price only, it would only be a stop out if we reclosed below the 30-second inverse there, which we just never did. Okay. So a couple of you took it. But yeah, I mean, that's just an eval play for me. I don't know if it hit 1R. I don't think it did. Oh, we did. We hit 1R. Huh. Well, there you go. So, I mean, even on a day like this, on a day like this, we can find something. But I mean, this wasn't an alert at all. I never said I was in this trade or out of this trade, you know. But it is like the first valid setup we've gotten, right? Where's the stop loss for that? So yeah, your hard stop whale is just going to be at the low, and then your manual stop will be if we reclose below the 30-second there. Once you usually put your stop loss below the recent lows, so that actually would be... No. My stop loss here is always going to be this. And then, yeah. For the hard stop, but I'm always basing my TPs on the manual stop. Because this is where I assume price is going to stop me out at. This is like worst case scenario. This is very rare that this happens where we get the worst case scenario. And so that's why like I'm basing the 1R off of the manual stop out and not the hard stop. You didn't take this? I never said I was taking it or I didn't take it. I'm not going to share whether or not I took it. Because I don't want you to like journal this trade and be like, oh, I have to take this. I mean, this trade is just so high in premium. We like took out buy side. Like, this is not something like I would not be proud of you for taking this trade and putting it in your journal. Like, I'd be like, okay, I mean, I guess, cool. You know, the highest quality long we would have gotten today is a 50% retrace. You know, we would have gotten discount, would have gotten a good sweep. Here, it's just like, okay, cool. I mean, we're chopping around. You took a long from the extremity of the range that we're chopping in. But, like, your draw on liquidity here isn't very good. And that roadblock is probably going to cause the trade to be a break even anyway. But yeah, we'll keep looking at this 5 minute. Fahrenheit, that's so bad. Wait, Zebby, you took a loss on that? Damn. I thought for sure it was going to close back below here on this candle, and then we wicked back up in the last few seconds. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess we're good. That's why you got to wait for that close below. Who heard the click? Bro. I have two MFFU accounts for NFP. One of them has a free reset and one of them doesn't. I'd rather pass the account without the reset. What would be your strategy for NFP with MFFU accounts? Thanks. So it kind of depends on whether or not we still have that previous week high intact. If we do, I'd probably just send the one that you want to pass on the first try long, and then the other one short, because most likely that short will fail if we have that draw on liquidity, because news will just accelerate us to the draw. And then you could also just do the limit order strat for both of them. But I don't know. I mean, if you're using two accounts, the best thing is probably just to hedge and just hope. Hope that the one account that you want to see passes. Yeah, Baker, the current promo code right now for MFFU is 20% off Starter Plus and Expert Resets. Nothing too crazy this week. I think next week they'll probably have a better discount. I prefer My Funded Futures Whale. I think they're the best for beginners. So let's see. Do you guys think the break even's going to save us here? Oh yeah, the first account you buy with My Funded Futures is still 50% off, by the way. So if you've never tried MFFU and you use my code, you'll get it for 50% off. By the way, even if I wasn't an MFFU affiliate, I would still promote them. I still think they're the best. Yeah. Wesley, whatever the max is for My Funded Futures, I think the max for a starter account is 3. But if there's no max, like you have the expert account or you have the starter plus, then yeah, I would just do the max amount, and then just try and target however many points you need to pass. Yep, Murmar. Yep. So looks like the break even saved us there. So I guess journal that, keep that in your mind. That break even is going to save you from potential loss if you go to break even there. Even with equal highs above, it doesn't matter. Still gets wrecked. 5 minute closed under. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, we might see shorts now to the 50% level. Right? This is kind of working in our favor for the situation I want to see here, where we take previous hourly low, tap into the hourly BISI here, and then maybe we hit 50 and we get a nice long. That could be cool. I'd be on board with that. That's definitely a trade I would take. No, Baker. Yeah, so basically you're just entering one account long, Wesley, and one account short on eval. And then the one account that you want to see pass, I think NFP will most likely be bullish, because if we have this draw on liquidity still intact, that's probably where NFP will take us. I'm pretty sure you can. If you can't, then I don't know, because you can on like Apex and stuff. Were you unfunded or eval, Wesley? Really? I've never heard that before. We do have a 30-second long here. Swept to the low. Didn't hit that second low there, but I think we got an SMT. Yes, we got an SMT at this low. This is like another stab at the 30-second long. Basically, same criteria, except now we're outside of the macro time. So now you're missing time, but you still have good momentum, model, and bias. So I'm not going to take this one. We've already had one stab at it, and now I really like the idea of seeing shorts work out here since we inverse the 5 minute to the downside. But yeah, I mean, it's basically the same idea. Now you're struggling because lower time frame delivery is bearish and higher time frame is still bullish. Appreciate it, Odie. Do you need the highest trading view plan to have the? Nah, I think I just have the pro. I think that's like the middle plan. Just check the features of whatever plan you're signing up for and make sure it says like seconds time frame. But yeah, Wesley, that's weird. I've never heard anyone else have that situation. Did anyone else get their accounts closed on Apex for hedging on evals? Yeah, IDK, I think so. Yeah, so by the way, indicator alerted that 30-second long there. Gotcha, Yuki. Okay. Yeah, IDK. I would normally wait for. I would just wait for the TradingView sales. Normally they go on sale. We just had one recently for Easter. I think it was like 80% off. So maybe wait for that to come up again. Yeah. Normally, like I normally pay like around $200. I think for TradingView every year, and it's just a write off, just a business expense. Okay, okay. So this 30 seconds kind of moving. Break even, obviously, at this high. I mean, you can go break even now, but I feel like we should just hit this high too. Technically, this high is like that swing high of the leg that we inversed. Why is it working? Because we're just chopping in a range. I don't know why it's working after the 5-minute inverse to the downside, but I'm just not. I'm not a market participant here. Oh, you know who took the long? You know who took this long? Guess. Guess who took this long? PB. PB took this long, Bert. Such a PB long. They take like every single inverse. It's funny, like every single tiny inverse. I mean, that's fine. You know, they always take trades like that. I saw one trade that Blake or something took, and they posted it, and it was like a 2 point or like 1 point fair value gap. I was like, okay, what the hell is that? Yeah, and it works. I have no idea. Who are the PP guys? They're just like other fooders in the space. There's Patrick and Blake. They're friends with Dodgy, I think. They trade IFEGs from time to time, but they trade them kind of weird. Not Patrick Wayland. Different Patrick. Different Patrick. Yeah, this price action has been pretty brutal. Is there any hope? Dude, we got to see 330 give us something. That's our only hope now. We got to see like a dump candle here, take out previous hourly low, tap the unbalanced bullish for value gap, and then hopefully a long. That's it. But yeah, usually like what does ICT say? The Wednesday before NFP is pretty bad too. So this is typical pre NFP price action. I feel like. Cool, Wesley. Cool, awesome. All right, Tambi, sounds good. We'll catch you tomorrow. I don't know, Yuki. I don't think so because I've traded NQ and MNQ on my funded futures, like my funded accounts. But I've never had a problem, so I don't think so. Yeah, the fish aren't biting right now, Seb. A Ferrari 360 or F430? Trading on a boat, hell yeah. Little pontoon action. So no fail here on this 30-second yet. Just kind of doing its thing. I was saying, Seb, Ferrari 360 or F430? The 360 Moderna. Or Spider. Probably the Spider, actually. That probably more closely compares with the F430. Or none of them, because screw Ferrari. I don't know. I like the F430, I think, more. Dream Ferrari is probably the 488 Pista. I mean, there's a lot of very cool Ferraris, but SF90 Stradale, yeah. I feel like that car's not going to be very rare, though. It's going to depreciate a lot. I just don't know how you beat... I don't know how you beat this car. This car is so beautiful. Chances of getting a trade, unless we get a pullback, probably slim. If we just stay in this range, we're getting nothing. If we come down to here, and we get something like this, yes. If we get that at like 330, that would be cool. TJR just got it. What did TJR buy? What did he buy now? I thought he just sold all of his cars to go all in on crypto. Now he bought another Ferrari? Really? He bought the Ford? Well, he's got good taste in cars at least. The spec is mid? Okay, let me go check this out. It's just black on black? That's fine. Black on red? Spec isn't mid. That's fine. What's wrong with the black on red? It's not what I would get for a Ferrari, but I don't really like red interiors either. But I mean, I can understand it. My favorite spec is green on tan, and then for a Ferrari, I'd probably get red on tan, right? Dream car, Turbo S. Okay, EJ. Okay, okay. Ferrari Dino 246 GT. That's cool too. I like the Mura better. That's like around the same time, right? Yeah, I like that better. That's a grandpa's car? I guess. Gotcha, EJ. Yeah, for me, the reason why I didn't pull the trigger on the McLaren is reliability. So that's why I went with the Camry. Yeah, GT63 is cool. GT3 RS is like completely like ruined by social media. I mean, nobody was really on the Porsche wave, and now everyone is. That's why like I'm gonna go for the Turbo S because like at least that's a little different. But yeah, I mean the 911's been my dream car forever. I would get like the wagon version of the um, Taycan over the or maybe it's the hatchback, whatever it is, versus a Cayenne Turbo. I'd probably get the RSQ8 over that too. Do you guys see that they're bringing the M5 wagon to the states? I mean, I'd probably still get a RS6 over it, but this is the new 2025 M5 wagon. I hate the new grill, man. Why did they ruin this car? BMW is just like this has been BMW lately. Like that's literally BMW. Like I hate their brand now. Same with same with Audi. Same with like well, I mean Mercedes is actually still okay, but like Audi is just I hate how cheap their cars have come to look. I hate their interiors. I hate the design. Like at least the B58 engine's still good. When do I end the PM stream? I mean, if this keeps up, probably like in 10 minutes. I'm hoping in the next, probably before 3:40, we get something good. But if not, I'll probably wrap up early today. Hopefully in the next 13 minutes, Vert. If we don't get something, then forget it. It's just no trade day. Can you explain why the macros? They've always been the same. They've never really been too different. Even the morning you took no trade? No, I took the 5 minute and the 2 minute long this morning. We went over them earlier in the session. You might not have been here, but yeah, I took this long, 10:25, and then we took the 2 minute trade. Like after that one got stopped break even, and that worked for scale and then a break even. And then this afternoon we had the 30-second. That's about it, and that was also a break even trade. But yeah, guys, I mean, it's funny because like we have this type of sentiment every single time. You know, it's like the couple days before NFP, and everyone's like, "Oh, the sky's falling, everything's horrible, the market sucks," you know, whatever, whatever. And then NFP day comes, and it like makes our whole month. You know, we get a 10-hour OSFL setup. Just be patient. Also, remember, you know, we're coming into summer price action here, and so this is typically when you'll see, you know, more institutions taking time off, or bigger players or traders or whatever. You know, less retail traders are going to be trading because they're on vacation. So this typically market seasonality says that this is like low volume, and then you know we'll be back at it August, September, right? When was the last 10-hour OSFL? I don't know. FOMC I think was good, but I don't think it was 10-hour. I don't remember. Talking about 3:30 macro, and the rest of the day it's 9:57. Yeah, okay. So Marcus, the last hour of trading, power hour, is typically seen as like the end of day macro, right? Kind of similar to how like the last 10 minutes and the first 10 minutes of the hour are seen as a macro. The first hour and last hour of the day are seen as a macro, right? And so I have that last hour kind of chunked up into two different macros, right? That I, you know, looked at based on backtesting and just experience through trading PM. And that's 3:15 to 3:45, and then 3:50 to 4 o'clock. And the reason why I have them chunked up that way is because usually that first 15 minutes of the hour at 3 o'clock has like a lot of conflicting draws, and there's usually a lot of manipulation, and so we don't usually see distribution there. And then same thing kind of goes for that 350 move, right? We'll usually manipulate before the 350 move, and then we'll finally get it. So that's why they're kind of broken up that way. And then everything else is the same, you know, first and last 10 minutes of the hour. Most important macro times, I think, in the day that normally move price are the 4-hour close. So, you know, that's 9:50 to 10:10 and 1:50 to 2:10. Those two macro times usually see a lot of movement because we see multiple time frames all closing around the same time. I haven't taken a vacation this year. I didn't even take time off for my birthday. We traded on my birthday, so I'll probably find, you know, an opportunity coming up here in the next couple months to take some time off, but I'll probably still trade even when I'm on vacation. I bought a mobile command setup for that reason. I have a couple monitors that I can bring and set up like a triple monitor setup, and I bought a nice new laptop to go with it, so it shouldn't be like, you know, just on the phone. It'll be like an actual stream. You know, maybe there'll be a little bit worse mic quality since I'll be using a headset mic over like a cardioid condenser, but it'll still be good. Yeah, Wesley. How did I meet Dodgy? I joined the server, and then like I really got to know him when he started this Minecraft server for the Discord, and I joined with a bunch of other people, and I met basically everyone that I trade with now through that server. So yeah, basically, if you play Minecraft with him, you know, maybe one day you'll be profitable or something. I don't know. But yeah, we had a lot in common when I met him. We both went to school for cybersecurity. We both used to play Fortnite and make content for Fortnite and play competitively. Both the same age, both in college. So we had a lot of similarities. Are we good friends now? Yeah, I mean, I think so. Um, so I started trading 5 years ago. When I was 18, I started trading options, and I traded options for about 3 years on and off, just like, you know, taking earnings plays when I wanted to, when I had some extra cash, whether it was from internships or, you know, Fortnite or whatever it was, right? And I would just, you know, look up like tickers and whatever on Wall Street Bets or I don't know, whatever, and try and do analysis on different companies and try and predict earnings reports, and like that never really worked out. And then I tried doing like RSI and MACD, and that never really worked out. And then I had like a really good run where I started analyzing companies based on their balance sheets because I'd been taking, finance and accounting classes during college and learned a thing or two. And we had this new emerging technology coming out in 2022. It's called like chatbot LLMs using AI. So like ChatGPT, that kind of thing. And so I leveraged that, new emerging technology to try and determine, okay, what companies are going to see the biggest hits to their future cash flows as a result of this new emerging technology. And I stumbled on the company Chegg, which basically gives homework answers to students. And ChatGPT was a free platform that you could basically look up answers for questions you had. And they would actually answer it with like decent accuracy. And so I figured, okay, if a lot of students switch from a monthly subscription with Chegg to just using ChatGPT or whatever, their company is probably going to suffer. So I shorted their company, made a good amount of money, and then I used that money over the next summer when I graduated to basically fund my futures learning experience, right? So I lived with my parents after college for a little bit. Thankfully, they didn't kick me out. They just let me live there rent-free. I'm very grateful for them. I was in a very fortunate position thanks to that, and sat on a pile of cash thanks to that Chegg trade. And then I spent that time, where I didn't really have any desperation for money. I didn't really have to pay rent. Didn't have to, deal with a job or kids or a spouse like a lot of you guys do. And I was just able to learn. And from there, it took me about 5 months in March of 23 until July or August is when I first turned a profit. It was in August. I got a 5-figure payout, and then the month before was my first payout. And then after that, I think you're not really profitable until you show consistency. And so for me, that's usually 6 months. And so I really wouldn't say I was profitable until 6 months after that point in August. So probably February or March of 2024 is when I was like officially profitable, just based off consistency. And then, yeah, that's about it. That's the life story. So for when I started learning futures Umami, it took me about 5 months in total, though. If you include the options time, it was over 3 years. So what's the meaning of the logo? I don't know. I made it using AI. I liked the lions, so I just asked it to make me a lion. And, put my thing below it. Originally, it was going to be for branding for a different server, but now it's just my branding overall. It's this logo's even been on a billboard in Times Square, so that was pretty cool. Dream scenario, soup the low down here and get along. Really? Why? Well, WAP is obviously the payment processing company that I work with, right? It's how you guys pay for the stream. And they invited me out to New York to have a little business meeting and, talk with some other creators and whatnot. And during that trip, they took all the creators out on a party bus to Times Square, and they put all of our basically businesses on billboards and advertised for us in Times Square, which is pretty cool. There's actually while that was happening, Dodgy was streaming, and I joined the stream and like showed off the billboard in Times Square, and there's a couple pictures of it somewhere in the Discord. I don't know where they are, but how Dodgy get his name? I don't know. I have no idea. Would you say that psychology is 90% of trading? I mean, it's a good portion of it. I don't know what the exact percentage is, but yeah, I mean, you have to have good psychology if you want to trade. Yeah, exactly. Sitting on a pile of cash, living with your parents, and learning futures. Exactly. Yep. How's PM been? Terrible, Harry. Horrible. We're about to hit 340 and still have no sign of a retrace. We've just been chopping in a range, so probably not gonna get anything. But yeah, this This Times Square thing happened back in October, so let me see if I can search it. I should be able to. If I just look up Billboard, it should pop up. Yeah, here we go. I found it. Check that out. I mean, that was definitely a bucket list moment for me. That was pretty cool. Let me find the video of it too, because there's a video of it somewhere. Yeah, that's real. If you check that message I sent from announcements, that's from the day that of that stream when all that happened. I didn't pay anything for it. Watt paid for it, so I don't know how much it costs, but okay, little dump candle here. Maybe we finally get that low, that 50% tap. No, I don't think it actually translated to any like new subs or anything, but it was only up there briefly for like a few, like maybe 5 seconds, I think. But they like had it on a slideshow, so it kept coming up over and over again. I probably saw it like 5 or 6 different times. I was one of the lucky ones that like my brand was up there like multiple times. Some people only got theirs up there for like a few, like maybe once or twice or something. Yeah, hopefully, mommy, right? I mean, that's not the goal. The goal is just to keep hitting trades and keep educating. But something like, if you do good, the money just follows, right? So I'm hoping to just keep doing good. All right. I mean, we have this 30-second inverse here. Didn't quite get to that level I wanted, but we did tap into the previous hourly low and that gap. So if we saw the inverse here, I mean, I imagine it would probably work. We have macro, we have momentum, we have V-shape, so we have the model, we got the liquidity sweep, we got bias. I think bias is still in our favor because we're respecting this 1 hour gap. So we got the pieces to the puzzle again. Probably just another eval trade though. It's basically the exact same one as this first 30-second here. We have a good ODL now, LRLR, but ain't nothing happening. I mean, yeah. I mean, we have so many stacked highs up here. Like, this is all going to get ran. Maybe we'll see it get ran during 350. Previous hourly high. That would be the goal for 350, I think. And we're dumping. It's okay, though. You know, if we dump more here before 350, maybe we can get the inverse at 3 and we can sweep the low. $600 away from a $3,500 payout, so thinking of getting one to reward myself. Yeah, that'd be cool. And it's a tax write-off. That would be cool. That'd be cool for sure. All right, maybe we get a 1 minute order block here. paired with the 30-second IFEG. What would the risk on this be? 8.5 points. TP 21 points. Good momentum. Break even at the equal highs here. Hopefully we don't hit the internal high. Just don't go invalid. Just don't go invalid. Just don't go invalid. Just don't go invalid. Please. 13 seconds. No. Well, that sucks. And that's a wrap. Yeah. Probably. Yeah, 1 minute hit the high too. That's just cooked. Well, that's okay. No fish today. Generating quite a bit of LRLR here. This is good LRLR. Very algorithmic. Obvious on the 5 minute too. This is, so you guys keep mentioning LRLR to me. This is good LRLR for sure. Still a good trade? Yeah, it's just invalid. It's not the model. Retrace worked. Break even there. Only 4 points away though. But yeah, assuming you just took the retrace, I mean, still not a bad trade. Obviously, just not the model, so just can't do anything about it. Can't take it. Only ever going to enter with the actual entry model, unless like really good draw on liquidity. Which, I mean, LRLR is good. Don't get me wrong, but it has its issues where like sometimes we get LRLR and we just continue to respect the trend line, and so because you don't know where it's going to break, most times these trades will just end up being break evens. Whereas with like equal highs or unfilled with higher time frame gaps or data wicks, like those usually just get hit straight away. So that's the problem with trying to take LRLR super high up outside the entry model is oftentimes like you'll just get break even, or they'll lose because you try chasing too high, too close to the LRLR, and then the trend line doesn't break. That ends up being a loss. Right. And then everything lower than LRLR, because LRLR is like tier 4 liquidity, is just like it's not like high probability enough on its own. Right? You need like a lot of other confluences. You don't have to, Jeezy. You can like always just operate as a sole proprietor, but running as an LLC, like in having it like what's it called? Qualified as like an S corp is going to allow you to like get a lot more advantages when it comes to taxes. So if you want to pay less taxes, then yeah, you should use an LLC. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you definitely probably want to size down. But yeah, break even trade there, right? Figures. Even if it was valid, it would have been a break even. It's because we rejected the trend line. We don't know when that's going to break. Probably breaks during the macro. Right? Confirmation setup? Maybe. It's just not very obvious. It's not the model. So missing model, we'll have time. If we get a good candle through it, I guess we'll have momentum, and obviously we'll have bias. So it's up to you. I'm not going to force anything. Like, this is bad PA. I mean, I say it's like good momentum, but like you have to think about momentum in context too, right? Whenever I say like momentum is usually good at 5 points per minute, that's in context with the rest of the market. I mean, contextually, the market here just looks horrible. No, Hernancho, because break even target like changes all the time, and like I don't want to take profit at less than 1R. So I'm never gonna use break even as like the TP. But what I have thought about doing is like using 1R as my full TP instead of trying to go for like runners and having trades get stopped, break even after scales or whatever. Like yesterday, if we would have taken full profit at 1R on that trade, we would have had like a really really nice win there. But because it ended up um, coming back for a break even after an hour and a half, it only ended up being like on futures like a 0.6R trade, like a win. But obviously, I took that option scale too, so that made it 1R. But I mean, if you were just trading futures normally, that probably wasn't a 1R trade for you. Yeah, exactly, Vert. That's actually not a horrible idea, right? If you wanna scale at 1R because you don't believe that we're gonna hit a runner or there's a roadblock, and the draw on liquidity isn't like one of the top three that we always talk about, then like yeah, taking 1R in that scenario is actually a really good idea. But if there's like a data wick left, why wouldn't you hold a runner in that scenario, right? Data wicks get hit with such good like frequency that it makes sense to hold a runner there. So yeah, maybe that's something I'll try. I actually really like that idea. I haven't thought of that before. So 1-to-1 on trades where the TP is like not great for a draw, like external liquidity or ITHs or ITLs, and then holding runners on like in like unfilled higher time frame gaps, equal highs, and data wicks. I like that. I think I might start trying that. Wow, Vert's first day here and he's already contributed so much to the community. Is that what you normally do, or were you just brainstorming right now? You always do that? Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I know you said point 0.8, but I might just take full. Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. If you guys are going to modify your rules, always back test that stuff first, right? Before making a decision on whether or not you want to do it, or forward test it at least, right? Don't just start trying something without testing it first with real money. But yeah, maybe that's something I'll test. For sure, for sure. Yeah, for sure, Brandon. I feel like when you only have 1 to 2 cons, that's actually the better scenario um, to scale most because you don't have a lot of options. Like you only have like the one contract there or whatever. So we've hit that 50% level. We've taken out that low now. So maybe we reverse here. Of course, it happens right during the macro. Maybe we get the 2 minute. This would be it. This would be our trade. All right. 2 minutes probably getting too small here. Let's check the 30-second maybe. Okay, so we have a 30-second gap here. God, there's just like no obvious gap, man. I mean, I guess we're using the 2. Oh, I guess the 3 if that forms in about a minute. Yeah, we use the 3. The 3 is the best. I don't know. All right, let's see. So yeah, probably not going to get a 2 minute here. I think it's just going to come down to this 3 minute. We got another 30 seconds before that forms, and then we'll have to wait for 57 here in order to take it, and then just hope that we get the entry at 57 and then run the liquidity in the last 3 minutes. It would be a 2.2R trade. Yep. Yep, that would be the idea. Go break even at the trend line. Enter off the 3 minute. So Why do markets shut at 4? That's when the market shuts off. I don't know. All right. If we get this 3-minute long, I'll take it. You can watch the 30-second here too. Uh-oh. Wrong direction. Yeah, Umami, I mean it's not a competition, man. You're just trying to improve yourself. Those people have been scaling up those accounts probably for a while, or they're gambling, right? Do you really want to aspire to be a gambler? Probably not, yeah. 1 minute SMT with ES. Okay, okay, good to know. I think we've had an SMT this whole time with ES. We're just uncorrelated. What's the best month for trading? Dude, April was fire. But I feel like usually it's the holidays. Holidays are good. And we're not getting nothing. God damn it. Yeah, we're not going to get anything today. All right, we got a minute before the 3-minute closes. Maybe 30-second of resweep. No, there's not even a gap. Can market maker sell Model E? Yeah, only I think if we inverse this 15. Dude, this play is probably gonna work after close. Like this will probably work at 6 o'clock. We'll gap up at 6 and run all this. When is close in 4 minutes. That's market close. Futures market closes technically at 5 Eastern, but the stock market closes at 4. So this this 3 minutes cooked. We got 15 seconds because then the next candle close will be right when the stock market closes, and like I'm not gonna take a trade as the stock market closes. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys learned something today. I hope there's something we could take from the session, and you can apply it to your trading and learn a little bit more or change the way that you trade to become more profitable. I definitely learned something today. That I might apply to my trading. That idea of scaling earlier on poor draws. I mean, that's kind of the next step of my journey. I think is just getting better take profits. I feel like I've kind of nailed the entry model down. I've kind of nailed the deciphering between good and bad entries. It's just at this point, it's capitalizing on the most amount of profit that I can. So, still working on that. But yeah, once I nail that down, I think we'll be complete. I don't think there will be a whole lot more for me to improve on other than just getting more and more familiar with the charts. I'll probably stay on just till close. I just want to see what happens here, see if my idea is right. Yeah, no, Vert is like he's been in the Discord for a minute. I mean, he's a knowledgeable trader. He just has never participated in PM for some reason. I don't know what that's about. That's his one drawback. But it's okay though, because now he's here. For sure, he. Vert, you were trading this price action. That's why. Yeah. I mean, if you've turned a profit, you can say that. Nah, like Ari, like in my experience trading it, like it hasn't been that bad. But like that's just what I've heard from other people who like trade market seasonality. They say those types of things. Yeah, this 3 minute looks really good. This is the best trade of the day. It's just like literally at market close. Like there's not anything we can do. It finally gave us the condition, right? We waited all session for the condition, and it's just too late. Like if this would have happened like 30 minutes ago, I'd be all over this. All right, 15 seconds. You might retire from PM. Hey, that's no, all good, protector. Do what you got to do. Do what's right for your trading. Does the futures market not move well when the stock market's? Yes, exactly. That's why like Asia isn't typically the best, right? Alrighty, well, that's PM. I guess I will catch all of you tomorrow for the PM session. Probably just going to be a demo day, but yeah, catch you then. Peace out, everyone.